You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, the place to learn about new technology and technological advances before they become mainstream. This special edition 1 episode is sponsored by Cisco, taking your business a level up. Let's get into it. Welcome back to B2B Tech Talk. My name is James Carbary with Sweetfish Media, and I'll be the guest host for this episode. We're recording on site in Denver, Colorado at the Ingram Micro ONE event. And in this episode, I'll be talking to Linda Weller. She's the president of Info Advantage. Linda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to chat with you today, Linda. So you spent several years in programming and IT at a company that was eventually acquired by PetSmart. Can you talk to us about the lessons that you learned while you were at that company as it relates to the IT needs of a company?
Yes. It's actually a very odd story.
Okay.
I started the company right out of high school. I started in the mailroom. Nothing to do with IT whatsoever. There were several people in the department. Within 3 months, I was the only person left. I had streamlined that process, the processes really, and it took the department from 6 down to 1, which was me, saving the company money. I caught the attention of the president who said, "Hey, would you like to learn about the computers?" I'm like, "Sure." Easy segue.
Save us a lot of money there too.
Yes. Yeah. So I got into database administration, and then I went into programming, and I actually designed their computer room when we built a new building. I mean, who lets a 19-year-old do that? I don't know. So from there, I really got to see how IT and that process really affects a business from the mailroom all the way to delivery to the customer.
It's incredible.
So.
You talk often, Linda, about there being 3 main types of IT companies. Tell us about what those are.
Well, thanks for asking. We have, you have your hardware, you have a VAR, a value-added reseller, and you have an MSP. Okay. Right now, Info Advantage is a combination of all 3 of those. Okay. With that being said, we're leaning more towards the MSP model. We don't ever see ourselves really getting out of the hardware aspect. And you're a value-added reseller because IT is an all-consuming thing. It's not a one entity.
Yep. So where, I would imagine it's just an incredibly saturated market. So being in the space that you're in, how have you been able to differentiate yourself?
We have been in business for 27 years.
Wow.
We have had clients. We have about a dozen clients who have been with us for 27 years. Wow. We don't see, you talk about it as a client, but we look at it as more of a partnership. We ask them, where do you envision your company being in 5 years? We want to help you grow. We are like a silent partner. That's how we envision ourselves as a value to your business.
I love it. How do you operationalize that as in your team? You obviously, as the business owner, I as a business owner myself get that, but how do you instill that in your people? So
there's no I in team.
Yeah. There
isn't. We are a team. And, when I go out and visit clients or prospects, you're talking to maybe a sales guy. But if something happens in that organization, you can reach out to any of us. We are all, boots on the ground. If something goes wrong, we will all be there.
Yeah. Making yourself available.
Yes. And that's the vision and the value that we bring. You're not just a number. You're not just a client. You are actually one of us.
Yeah. I love that. Linda, you're a part of Ingram Micro's TrustX Mastermind program. For listeners that maybe aren't familiar with that program, can you talk to them about what it is and how it's helped your business?
Well, we'd have to go back 27 years. That's how long we've been in business with Ingram.
Love it.
Okay. With that being said, we've dealt with Ingram, just as, relationship. We got into the SMB. We got into the TrustX with the Nor'easters. In all these events and all of these things that we've done, you've seen this group of business owners who are just that step above. And we wanted to be in that step above. Yeah. Really with guidance and pushing, from Bill Peterson and Joe Palermo, it was like, okay, we're not ready for the step. We're not ready for the step. And then finally, you really have to take the leap. So that's how we joined Masterminds. So in answer to your question, Masterminds is a group of individuals and businesses in the same model that you're in.
Okay.
They're about the same size. And it doesn't matter where they are across the country or continent, they know the business, they know the business model, they know the pitfalls, and they know where they went through, because we're the newbies. Okay. So we're going in there, it's like, oh, here we are. And they're like, you're doing this wrong. You should change this. You should do this. And you're like, and then they're like, it's all love. It's all good. Yep. We just want to help you grow. Yep. So Masterminds is a group, but it's like, it's beginning to be our family. Oh. So, and anyone looking to join, it's intimidating, but it's the most rewarding thing we've done so far.
Do you guys meet in person, or is this something
we
you guys
meet
do
in
virtually?
person.
Okay.
We meet in person.
And is that once a year, a couple times a year?
4 times a year.
4 times a year.
Yes.
Okay. So you're
and we
meeting
have
in person.
we have monthly calls.
Love it.
We have monthly calls. We are held accountable. We are giving homework and tasks.
Are you showing financials?
Oh, yes.
How deep into it are you going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're showing your financials. You're like, one of the members is going to love this. He's going to they're going to tell you your baby's ugly. So he's like, just don't worry about it. They're going to tell you that it'll be fine. So, we were told that. And, the next month we had things we had to come back with, next quarter, I should say, we had things we had to come back with. And the monthly calls really help everyone stay on task.
I love that.
So, they welcomed us really with open arms. These guys have been together for a number of years, and here's a new company coming in, and it didn't feel like that.
Yeah. And I know just in entrepreneurship, it can feel like an incredibly lonely road.
Yes.
And so to be a part of a group that know the pains you're going through, know they've navigated the challenges.
The same business model and the same challenges, dealing with the same, everyone's different in their own little markets, but the underlying pain points are all still the same.
And I'm assuming there's no competition.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That's where really Bill Peterson and Joe had come in. They've known our business. They know us, and they know all the mastermind groups. Yep. And all of that.
So
they placed us in one that's actually has 2 other married couples in there. So, and knows our personality and quirks.
I love it.
Real quick, before we jump straight back into the episode today, we want to tell you about Ingram Micro Financial Solutions and how you can maximize your buying power and get to yes with your customers faster. For the last 9 years, Ingram Micro has been Channel Pro's reader's choice for best financing options. Put the power of our credit and leasing options to work for you. You can easily contact Financial Solutions at ingrammicro.com. All right, let's get back to the show.
So Linda, you're all about going green. What's that mean from an IT perspective, and how can the IT industry be more green?
That's challenging. I am all about reduce, reuse, recycle. It's different in the IT world. There's ways to reduce your energy usage with, UPS systems and all these monitors that you can do, for your refrigerator, all this. It's all IT.
Yeah.
Okay. In some form or another. But it's really educating your clients, educating people on the value. You save money by going greener footprint and all that. But on the back end, we have all this technology that also has to be disposed of. You just don't throw it away. That can be, reclaimed. So it's a huge problem. We have to deal with it.
Yeah. And just being educated about it. It absolutely is the first step.
And, in our company, we have, motion sensor lights and all of this. So everything goes off, and, someone leaves on the one light switch that's not, I yell at them, they're not recycling. But the technology and the hardware and all of the stuff, even the cabling, it has to be recycled.
Yeah. So Linda, you mentioned that you and your husband are in business together.
Yes.
And so you're in a mastermind group that has a few other folks that have a similar situation. That is a very unique situation in business.
It is.
But you're actually training your son to take over the business. So what suggestions do you have for other kind of family businesses that are looking to do something similar to what you and your husband are in the process of doing?
So we have 3 children. Okay. All 3 children have been involved in something with the business since they were little. Very different aspects. Our daughter went off to veterinary school, whatever. And our oldest son is going for computer IT, field. Our youngest son is now computer IT field. He's working for us part-time. However, when we first, our first son was born 30 years ago, we're like, he will never work for our company without going out into the workforce. You have to get experience in other places.
Yeah.
You cannot come into a company and think you know it and you own it.
Yeah.
When you know nothing about what other people have done. So he's going to finish up his degree. He's going to get a job somewhere else and, come back. And he will know, all of them know the business and all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
So
how many employees do you guys have?
We have 12.
Okay. So I had just had a similar conversation of this last weekend, actually, with my peer group. And they were talking about the importance not only of just them getting experience outside of the organization, but really the credibility that outside experience is going to give them to those other 12 people on the team. So as opposed to, Linda and her husband are just crowning their child.
You can't do that. You're not doing anyone any favors.
You're not setting your child up for success.
Right. You're not. It's not the same credibility.
Yep.
All of our engineers have to have certs, and they have to have all of those things. But if you bring a family member in, whether it's a child, a brother, a sister, whatever you're bringing in, they have to have outside experience. They can't just be handed the job just because of a name. Yep.
You've mentioned that at some point, all three of your kids have been involved in the business. What have been some lessons that you've learned through that process, things that other folks can stay away from, mistakes maybe?
It is so hard not to be so critical of your child.
Yeah.
An employee, you have set guidelines of, you can't say this, you can't do that. But excuse me, when your child does something and it's not done right or correctly or in the time frame that you imagined in your mind, you have to separate those two.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing. On the opposite hand, you can expect more from them because you trust them a little bit more, that you can say, hey, look, you're gonna do this, and you know what they're capable of and all of that.
Yeah.
So
love it. Linda, there's a question that we're going to close with that we really love asking on this show, and it's, where do you see technology going in the next year?
Where do I see technology going? I see a more focus on security. I think we need that with all the devices out there that more people are bringing into the workplace. So you have, you bring your own device, and more people are doing stuff from their phones and their iPads and everything. With that being said, I see more artificial intelligence handling more of the IOPS of it.
Yeah.
Because people can't, not in that real time frame.
Yeah. Linda, how can listeners of this show stay connected with you?
With me, that's difficult. I never give out my information. You can reach out to, InfoAdvantage, www.info-adv.com. And I don't really know my LinkedIn one off the top of my head, so if I told it, it'd probably be wrong.
Well, you can search Linda Weller.
Yes, you can search me.
And if you put in Linda Weller Info Advantage, I'm sure Linda's smiling face will pop right up, and you can connect with her there. If you want to stay connected with us, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Ingram Tech Soul, and then use the hashtag B2B Tech Talk to join the conversation. Thank you so much for listening. And Linda, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. This special edition 1 episode is sponsored by Cisco. B2B Tech Talk is a joint production by Sweetfish Media and Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro production handled by Laura Burton and Christine Fan. To not miss an episode, subscribe today in your favorite podcast player.